have I got a Christmas present and a story for MSNBC now, today, in this moment in time. And so, uh, I want to thank, and I'm always thanking people because I'm just so grateful for learning so much from MSNBC for so many years. That was my school and my son's school, but I got a present for them. But also, I want to say shout out to Al Green because you keep on being persistent. We need that documentation. We need it on the record. And I sincerely hope the impeachment go through because that's what we need more people doing. Standing up and writing and documenting so you can have the facts. Because one thing a narc don't like, they don't like the facts. And most of all, they don't like the truth. And they will tear down the truth in a minute. But getting back to MSNBC, I'd like to give a special shout out to Nicole Wallace and Ari Melber. Ari, many years ago, won the ugly sweater contest for Christmas. I wonder will he get it again. But that was an ugly sweater, Ari. And Joy Reid. Oh, Joy Reid's over there having the time of her life. Yes, ma'am. She's like, what's those brothers' name? The two brothers that sing I Can't Go For That.
That's Hall & Oates.
Hall & Oates. I'm having a time of my life. You go, Joy. And the heifers. If that don't make me happy. Yes, those heifers. Heifers 101, 102, and heifers up to date. And then we have Rachel. Oh, my God, what a great teacher. I just can't say enough about Rachel because she warned us. She told us. She sounded the alarm. She kicked off her shoes. She did everything but get on a stripper pole, which we know that's not Rachel's thing, but that's just me saying that. And who else? We can't miss Alex Wagner with her kabuki theater, because I used to love to hear her say kabuki theater. It was CHRYSTAL BALL and all of y'all. And it was so many people over there. There was one more that, the one that when the young man went to war, what was her name that she was always concerned about?
Or that would have been Andrea Mitchell.
Andrea Mitchell, she retired. So special shout out to a team of people that, like I said, have taught my son and me, gave us so much information, because if that had been Fox News, oh my God, my son would have been stretched out on the floor screaming Bloody Mary, because he could never learn anything from them. And I don't even know why they're over there listening to Megyn Kelly and all these people, because we knew then that it was a propaganda channel. So we would turn on our TV and sit there and look and think, oh, we're going to learn today. We're going to learn today. So today, I'd like to give a special love and special dedication to Lawrence O'Donnell. Because Lawrence, he's a man after my heart. And God, I just can't say enough about Lawrence. I just can't. But Lawrence taught me so much, and I was having a very tough time. And Lawrence brought it home. And let me share this story with you. It's called The 5 Days Before Christmas. And I want you all, this sounds very familiar, because sometimes you look back and you think, oh my God, there it is. I did write it. And I didn't want to lose it because I didn't want people to think I was crazy, because like I said, narc, they'll make you feel like you're going crazy. So if you don't write that shit down, you in trouble. Now, the harassment, the retaliation, the discrimination. Who that sound like? Just them 3 words. If that ain't Congress, if that ain't the Senate, if that ain't everybody DJ T been around and his administration, has been unbearable. And the environment is very hostile. The treatment is abusive and quite intolerable. Oh my God. It has happened many times, and it's still happening. It will happen again and again, and it's still happening. The biggest risk is not knowing the rule. That's right. Lawrence O'Donnell gave me the rule. He actually gave me the rule while I was sitting in front of my TV with my son. And baby, you better believe I used the rule. I used it, Lawrence. And I'm back, and I'm listening, and it is up again. Rachel said it on her show. She said, Al Green is out there doing the impeachment thing, whether they get passed or not. It's getting documented. And, in the first term, it wasn't that many people, but hey, this is some serious shit going on. And, where a few people did up, 140, then come forward and say, hey, maybe we're getting ready to do the dance, because we got to draw a line in the sand. And we got to say, we went for all this shit, but, we can't go for that now. We back to Hall & Oates. I can't go for that. And can't going for it is drawing that line in the sand and say, well, you know what? this pedophile time, this got to stop. Because we didn't approve everything. I don't want my name behind it. And plus, y'all got to understand in Congress, y'all ass is losing. Look how the Democrats is turning up and turning out. But before I just go off the deep end and just rattling, once you know I get carried away, I get so excited. So it says, what happens to the reasonable employee who could no longer stand the abuse? She was too afraid to go to HR because she felt that matters would get resolved. And they didn't. I will tell you what happened. Girlfriend took her break at 12:20. She went to look for the manager she felt that she could trust and talk to. And it was a stressful situation, but that didn't happen because management made for who? Okay, and HR works for who? Okay, but she had to learn the hard way. She locates the assistant manager by the fabric table. The co-manager was there also. The assistant manager stated it made her very nervous and quite uncomfortable to be around the co-manager. Why? I wonder why. A lot of people, it's hard for them to be around DJT. You know why? Even Susie Wiles is saying, we got to call it a wrap because I'm getting tired of it. This associate is scared of the co-manager. There are lots of judges and attorneys. This fits this story perfectly. There are many associates afraid of this particular co-manager and afraid of the store manager. She did get the opportunity to talk to the assistant manager, and the associates clocked out at 1:07. At 1:10, the associate passed by my register. I said 1:10 by my register and told me she had quit. Now I said 1:10. Who created an intentional atmosphere of fear? No person should come to work afraid and get harassed. What happens when HR finds out? Not a damn thing, because HR works for the company. Does HR know? Why? Will they resolve this situation? No. Have Congress resolved in hours? No. Jump in, HR, anytime and do your thing. Do your job. Just like the judges is telling Congress, do your job. Like they telling the Supreme Court, do your job. That's right. They had a judge that just recently was on legal AF, and he resigned, and he wants them to do their job. Do their job. That's right. But I don't know. They haven't did their job yet. Now, I told you about the time she clocked out. They haven't did their job. Every associate across the nation, whether if you work at Walmart or not, should remember the rule. The rule that Lawrence O'Donnell taught me, the rule that I use, yes sir, is listed below. To raise your awareness, seek out information on hostile work environment, constructive discharge, quitting your job, wrongful termination, at will, employment rule, retaliation, laws against discrimination, service letter laws for the state of Missouri, revised statute wage and dismissal rights, section 290-1401. This was August the 28th, 2015 when this was written. Making complaints and steps to take when you get fired. Know your protective rights. Visit Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, Discrimination in Employment, and click on labor.mo.gov. Also click on EEOC.gov. Employees in the United States without a written contract can be terminated for a good cause, a bad cause, or no cause at all. Judicial exceptions to the rules seek to prevent wrongful termination. And now you know what those judges are up there doing? Giving that power to DJT and killing those agencies so we won't have all this dispute. We ain't got to even bother that. Just kick him out. The president said so. We're going to give him all this power. And he can do whatever the hell he wants to because Congress ain't got the guts to do nothing. Please, you waiting on them? And so the more y'all back to you, baby. You said it. Roberts, you going to give Mr. Man all this power to mess up the fabric of our country? Really? Are you freaking kidding me? So, the rule. This is what Lawrence taught me. the rule. Constructive discharge arises when an employee calls an employee work condition to be so difficult or unpleasant that a reasonable employee in a similar position will feel compelled to resign. The employee's action must have been taken with the intentions of forcing the employee to quit, and for work conditions to be so intolerable as to establish constructive discharge, they must be intolerable for not only to the employee involved, but also to a reasonable and objective employee in a similar circumstance. An employee who quits without giving her employer a reasonable chance to work out the problem is not constructively discharged. So basically, Bond, you gotta have a reason, and they killing everybody without a reason. And even if you go to somebody, they're so afraid that they're not going to be hurt, because who has all the power? But he's losing his power. We see that this strong man really haven't been a strong man at all. Now, we read all the strong men book, and they don't look like no strong man to us. But anywho, thank you, Lawrence. I just want that to be one of your Christmas presents, because I have listened for many years to the whole gang, and you all have really taught some valuable lessons. And you don't think I didn't wrote them down? You better think again, because I will use every lesson you from sitting in front of that TV. I will bring them up. You know I will. And I just thank you all so much, because Fox News ain't shit. They don't teach nothing. We never learned anything, and my son would have a hissy if I sit him in front of Fox Noise that he called. He would just, you would see the behavior come out. Yes, you would. You would never see his behavior come out until he had to turn on Fox with, he liked Gretchen Carlson, but he didn't like what was going on over there.
Sean Hannity.
And he,
Sean Hannity, Bill O'Reilly.
He hated Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly. And he never did like Megyn Kelly, because he said she was too ambitious and she was a liar. You hear that, Don Lemon? She was a liar. My son knew that years ago. When we was homeschooling, he knew to call Megyn Kelly out. Yes, he did. He called her for what he said. Oh, no, Megyn Kelly, and she gonna go back on her word, and she gonna go back over there and kiss ass, and that's what she doing, because she been bought out. So let me get back to the rule. And again, Lawrence O'Donnell, shout out to you, because you're a bad brother. Yes, you are. On Monday, the 15th of December, an associate comes to the front by the service desk, shook up. Fear was written all over her face. As the song say, written all over your face. Who that song by, boo?
Written all over your face is by Rude Boys.
Rude Boys. Written all over your face. Yep, the fear was all over her face. The associate explained to me she was sent to the front end to do return cards. The associate kept apologizing because she made it clear she wasn't familiar with the general merchandise area. And neither is anybody that's been in the administration. They ain't familiar with the job. None of them. They think it's based on loyalty, not intelligence, not knowing the job. That's all I'm saying. That's why this story, I said, I got to read this story to them, because this is a good one. So the associate kept apologizing, because she said, I can't do this job. She was overwhelmed and was in a great amount of pain. I asked if there was anything that I could do for her to help her by teaching her how to sort the baskets. And she said, nobody ever asked that question, because nobody never really taught me anything. Shit, that's the same thing in this administration. They ain't been taught nothing either. Ask Pete Health that's got all of us under fire, and nobody taught him how to do nothing. And everybody from McDonald's to whoever is listening to our information, So there you go. I told her, don't feel pregnant. Don't feel pregnant. So the associate laid out, we laid out the baskets. They noticed she was in pain, moving slow. The other associate, she reached over the cart and she dropped groceries onto the floor. She couldn't even pick them up. Once again, she apologized. I said, baby, you ain't got to keep apologizing, because, it's a Joy Reid thing. Them helpers over there. Okay. And with no such luck, she did not try to retrieve the item. The associate excused herself and went to the bathroom. And when she returned from the bathroom, you could look in her face, and her eyes could tell that she had been crying. She turns to me and said, I'm so hurt on this job. I can't do it. Walmart will not take my doctor's excuse. I am so afraid the co-manager is going to fire me. You and everybody else in the administration. That's what they fear every day. Baby, they clock into death. And they the ones that saying they so scared, but they ain't doing nothing about it. They, you know, if you so afraid, and here's a man that's got all this nastiness on him, and you still upholding him, you know what y'all, well, I ain't gonna say it. Let me go on. He said, the co-manager said they want me to do all the returns tonight. And when the associate finished, she said, after that, I got to go over to the GM side and put away the return course over there. I can't hardly make it to the bathroom. And thank you for letting me go to the bathroom because I didn't held it so long. They wouldn't even let me off the register. I had to pee so bad. They just, you know how Walmart, you know how Walmart do. We all know how they do. I don't know where anything goes. I won't finish in time. It makes you go, right, Dr. Med? All right. Why would management send an injured person to an area that they're not familiar with? Why you gonna send somebody? Why would you send them in? Why would you even hire people that ain't familiar with the job? And you know they can't do the job. And you study rewarding all these people that can't do nothing. And the only reason why they something is because there would never be nothing on our side of the chart, which is the reality side. No, they wouldn't. Why would management constantly return to the front end to see how many courses the associate had completed? Is this a setup for failure? Hell yeah. What happens when you are told you are too slow and unproductive in an area you have never worked? Don't that sound familiar? Okay. Why should the associate be given a verbal, written, or ultimate coaching when thrown into an area because Walmart failure to hire people? It's the PSAKI theory. Why would he be the department? What was his defense management?
Defense secretary.
Well, he's defense secretary. Why would they, Mr. Drunk of the Year? Okay, so who failed to hire people? Whose fault is it when Walmart goes on a rampage and force out or fire their good people? It is one thing to manage, but over-managing is a totally different ball game. And Congress ain't even in the game. Tuesday, December the 16th, the associates is back doing the return course. Over the walkie, all these demands are given out for the associate to do returns, zone, several areas. They're just pushing her to the brink. I'm thinking, ain't no way this associate is going to do all these tasks and be completed. They just really want to get rid of this young lady. A person with no injury could not be able to do the task that they asked her to finish by 7 a.m. Freight is pulled off the floor at 5 a.m. and the cleanup process begins at this point. And there are several associates who stay to get their areas completed, but run into overtime by later because they have to leave the floor because they say if you run into overtime, you got to go. You got to kill that overtime. We're not going to even pay you overtime, okay? So if you're not through with that job, it stops. But I'll be damned if you don't come in the next night and be punished for that because they're going to say, well, you didn't finish the job. Well, you told me I couldn't get overtime, so you can't have it both ways. But you know, we're in a situation now where they want it both ways. There are several associates that stay in their areas, but we don't want no excuses. The associates were off Wednesdays and Thursday, the 17th and the 18th. This associate was. The associate returned on Friday the 19th of December and was back doing returns again, moaning, sounding like a little kitten. She was hurt. The associate is getting shoved in all sorts of directions. The associate goes over to the seasonal candy section and starts to condense the candy. Wrong move. The same co-manager visits the associate's area about 4 times. Why? The associate can't screw the job up that bad to deserve this intense management. Is this management or harassment? Could it be retaliation because the associate can no longer do her original job from her injury? Because they're trying to push her back over there. What? To let her get hurt some more? And then not pay for her what? Her injury? And then knowing she got injured on the job, they got cameras. And what are they going to say? That didn't happen on the job. Or they're going to say, well, it was an old injury. You waited too long. Some bullshit like that. The associate goes to break at 12:10. The associate seeks out the assistant manager and talk. Next thing you know, the time is now 1 a.m. And the associate had quit and clocks out by 1:07. I said 1 a.m. The associate said, you know what, I can't take no more of this shit. I gotta go. I am too much pain. She was in so much pain that she had wet her pants, okay? Now that's some pain. Now that's some pain. The associate passed by my register at 1:10 to let me know that she had quit. The associate was upset. The time had passed. Assistant manager asked me over the walkie, was the return course getting done? I asked him, was I supposed to be monitoring the associate? There was a silence over the walkie. About 2 more hours passed, and here comes the assistant manager pushing the car to the front end alongside the support manager. Oh, they just gonna double up on my girl, the heifers. I asked him again, where was the associate? Was the associate going to return and finish the course? The assistant manager looked me straight in the face and told me he had the associate zoning another area. Now, he had the associate zoning another area. Big time lie. Big time lie. The girl passed by my register. What time did I say? I said she took a break at 12:10. Okay. Next thing you know, 1 o'clock, she had quit. 1 o'clock. And I was saying that's 2 hours later. And he's sitting up there telling me I got her doing other things. He lied to my face. He lied a nickname and shit. Anywho, let me carry on. I said, the manager, after he looked me in the face and told that big ass lie, I ain't say a word. I looked at him like, young man, just like the young man that he had fired prior to that, who had said he was sorry that he got fired, and he didn't have no reason to apologize. The young man was fired because they lied on him too, on 11/15/2007 and reinstated on 11/16/2007 by the same manager. But the market manager, Mike Gray, may he rest in peace, is now deceased, came back and put that young man on his job. We didn't have a 30-day treatment program for rehire. And it was a big mess because you know why? When this young man got fired, oh, baby, all hell broke loose in Walmart. You know why it broke loose? Because first of all, how you going to fire somebody that's the employee of the month? They got all kind of awards and shit. Yeah. Oh, and I'm going to tell you why it was really terrible. Because that young man was my job. And baby, one thing, if you all act like me on that job, Epstein shit, you wouldn't even have to worry about it because these women wouldn't be suffering. No, this should be solved. And all you all that's up there talking about y'all going for the Epstein shit, when it comes to your kids, that's a different hat, baby. You all got to draw y'all's a line in the sand. You know, you tell people all the time, anybody, any parent, you can mess with me, but fuck with my kids and see what's gonna go down. You see what I'm saying? And it went down. But my boy was back on his job. And this manager, I didn't give a damn if she liked me or not. But hey, I had my eye on the prize. I stayed focused. All right. Now, once again, another cover-up to clean up the same co-manager's mess. Ain't that what Congress doing? This young man did not utter a word. Years of intentional behavior, yet no one at Walmart has done anything to eradicate the problem of this same co-manager's intentional behavior. HR and home office had known all along, just like they knew about the Epstein file. You got somebody that's running around, that's your buddy, and you gonna tell me that you don't know his behavior, you don't know about nothing he doing? Okay, wow. I knew the associate had quit. As I checked my watch, it was 1:10, Saturday the 20th. 5 days before Christmas, I knew management would do everything to cover it up like they doing the Epstein file. Congress, y'all better get on it because y'all know it's a cover up. And I'm going to tell you something. If those were your kids and this shit happened to your kids and you got these stupid ass news reporters out there saying, well, they needed a little more time. Who gave the damn victims any time? Nobody gave I don't want to hear another news reporter out there saying about them needing more time because they had all the time in the world. These young ladies, as they were children then, they didn't have that. And they still fighting to this day. And you all have the audacity to sit up there and address Raskin and anybody in Congress, because you all have no morals and no integrity, and sit up and try to defend this bullshit. You know what? And I'm glad all these people have bought these different channels, because ain't nobody gonna be looking at y'all shit. We over there at independent media. Shout out to Legal AF for reaching his million goal. Shout out to him. Shout out to the whole network for being just being a badass network that's gonna crush the mainstream media, because we're not listening to that shit no more, because we know y'all ain't about the truth. We don't need that in our life. We done had enough of the lies, enough of the hiding, enough of people getting hurt. We're sick of it. We are fucking sick of it. For real. For real. For real. We are sick of it. So that's why I wanted to read this story, because I knew it was gonna bring out the dog in me. It was. That's right. It was gonna bring out the pit bull in me. So, or Tasmanian devil, or the heifer, as Joy would say. Now, but I tried to stay cool. But I was trying to build communication skill, but it's hard when somebody's sitting in your face lying, and that's what they've done in the media, mainstream media. Got on the news and just lied in our face, doing all this shit in our face. But then still, what are we doing? We acting like this person, and if you had to stay on the mental acuity side, y'all have had this shit nipped in the bud a long time ago. But no, y'all had to skip over there and do some other shit, knowing y'all seen this behavior, seen it, and know that this person has never had help. And Lawrence knew, and I knew for many years, dude, you trying to figure out whether he is in his right mind or not? Never had help. And now the president of the United States, and what is the Supreme Court going? Handing over every damn thing. You know. And you think these constitutional lawyers respect you? Hell no, they don't. And when I talked about stare decisis, ain't nobody trying to follow the leader. Because they don't want their reputations to go down. Because anybody stuck to this shit, then your shit is out. And one thing I'm glad DJT did, he brought all of y'all out. He brought everybody out. He brought them out. He let them know, you just as shitty as I am. You just as no good as I am. The only reason why you follow me, because you wouldn't be shit on a regular day. On a regular day, you wouldn't be shit. And these are the enablers. Now, let me finish. Hold up. I owe you payment for wrongdoing. This associate was wrong and not out of a job. Wait, a miracle happens. Some kind of miracle. The associate returns on December the 31st. New Year's Eve. What? No 30-day treatment program to be rehired. Oh, that was an ouch. This is a big mess up and a big cover up, just like y'all have right before y'all. It's a big mess up and a cover up. That's why Al is up there fighting these going for impeachment again. But this all could be documented so that he could come back and say, hey, it's here. It's documented. We could use it again. Just like I'm looking at this story right here. It could be used again because I know this shit was going to come up again. And it's here. It's here in living color. Just like what you all going through. Just like I went through. And now, Dougie Fresh, what did he do? Bend the knee, kiss the ass, kiss the nuts and everything else. And got a big fuck up. Now he's out. I wonder if he felt like going out, like he escorted all these employees out that was good employees. I wonder if he feel like they felt betrayed. Betrayed. What a cover up. Okay. Yep, it was a big mess. Now, how many times has the same co-manager made these mistakes? How many times have DJT made his mistake? The co-manager was wrong with the associate suggested a leave of absence should be taken on December the 22nd. What? No benefits? How? Now the one that fucked up, they want to leave of absence. Mike Johnson, why you always closing Congress? Why you always leaving? Why we need to go and recruit? You need to stay there and work this shit out. Oh. So that's Mike Johnson's role. You know, see how this story kind of connect the dots to what I'm saying? And once again, shout out, hugs and kisses to Lawrence O'Donnell for constructive discharge. This man, they have given me so much information. Shout out to MSNBC Now or MSNBC, whatever they are. But them some bad road dogs. They hung tough. Let me tell you, that's a teaching channel. That was a teaching channel. And so was Warren Buffett had a teaching channel. And we was right there looking at that teaching. Okay. The same assistant manager who called me a snitch. The same assistant manager who called Rashad a boy. Rashad no longer works for Walmart. The same assistant manager whose personal discussion coaching list has grown. Why? Time for a promotion. Who is the target? The black CSM who is a pain in the ass to Walmart, the assistant manager who said he's watching me, the same assistant manager who said he would put me out to the floor, the same assistant manager who said 75% of his job is coaching by walking around, the same assistant manager who will be changing rotation in February and said he will fire me, telling associates you're going to get fired, and to make them and can make everything anybody do look like it was unreasonable. I'm cool. I asked the question, is that a threat or is that a promise? He said no. Well, I got 4 months left. Not far off from 15 years anniversary date. It is just a fact. Yet everyone knows this assistant manager has given a personal discussion or coaching, whether it was coaching by walking around or just plain old coaching, is no longer employed by Walmart. I wonder why. See, we can't be complacent. We can't stand down. You know, you can't stand down. And even if you don't think you're going to win, baby, put on your damn boxing glove. Let's do this shit. That's what we do. The helper is gone. All right. Now, so after that list, I can name everybody on that list. And it wasn't a good list. It is always good to make up a list. And when I look back on this list, I feel like Gomer Powell. Golly. Surprise, surprise, surprise. The other associates he has told he would fire thinks he is kidding. I don't. I understand the assistant style of management. This assistant manager is trained to follow directives. Now, who is following directives? Marjorie Taylor Greene followed directives, and you see what it got her. You see what it got all these people that follow directives. You see what it's got him, because that ain't about them. It's about him. You know, following directives, and you follow them to hell. That's what happened. I said, wow, when will I get some positive feedback or learn something positive from the assistant manager or coach or fire? Time to get a second opinion. What has he taught me? He is not a mentor. He is definitely not my homie. He coaches and uses it as a tool when things go wrong. Members of management have trained to follow Walmart script and directives. Walmart language is in reverse. Whose shit is in reverse? Okay? Because our stuff over here is reality and his shit is in reverse. Okay? Who did that sound like? It's in reverse. Instead of coaching, being positive to teach, coach is in reverse and use negative to punish. Walmart, in return, will reverse it back on the associate and say the associate did not want to learn. They didn't want to learn. It's your fault. Like Rachel say, some people good at making people playing that, you know, I'm the victim. When all the apologies, they don't have to apologize because we know who the problem is. They're not too good at being a victim because people spotting it out now. They waking up. Let's take a look at the CBWA, coaching by walking around. If 75% of management's job is coaching by walking around, CBWA is definitely not working at store 2857 Boardwalk Square, Kansas City, Missouri. So 25% is paperwork in the office. So when will management get their hands dirty and do some real work with their associates? Shout out to the judges that's saying, when will the Supreme Court do their fucking job? When will Congress do their job and not be sending all of this to us? And for us, the cases that they got, all those shadow, that could have been avoided. They could have been working on something else. But no, they're too busy trying to destroy we the people, our country, our nation, and the rule of law. And that's why I wanted to read this story, because it fits right in with what is happening in this moment in time now. So, management gets paid and receive their bonuses. All right? We've had several walkouts and mega firings. That's just like all the people that's walking out on my boy DJT because they know they're going to get primary, and they just said, I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I thought coaching was to improve a job performance, not to lock you into a job. Beware. If a manager tells you that you're so good at the job, no one can do the job efficiently as you, look out. Didn't you go to see this manager about moving on for being promoted? You have been held back and your rights have been violated. I thought coaching was for developing people skills, preparing the associate for change, and teaching problem-solving skills. There is much more, but I will do the seminar another day. What happens when management is the problem? We see what happened. We living in it. We see what happens when the administration and DJT is the problem. There's much more, but I will do so. I told you I will do that seminar later on. Do you trust him? I thought the coaching job was to ask the right questions so the associates could find solutions to his own problem. So if you're the mainstream media, you ain't asking none of the right questions. You've been bored from asking the any type of question. Because if you don't like anything DJ Chief throwing down, you out. When will management reach out and teach the associates the job or have other associates train the associates before they are thrown into a fiery pit of hell? How can management hold the associate accountable for what management failed to teach? So if you ain't taught nothing and you mess up, DJT got you by the balls because you took the job knowing that you couldn't do the job, and all he got to say is, well, you know you wanted that extra money and you took the job. You know you wasn't trained, so shit, it ain't my fault. That's on you. See, he got you. He got you. That's right. So, when management reach out and teach the associate the job or have other associates train the associates before they are thrown into a fiery pit of hell. So, I'm here. Why would a store manager grade the associate's evaluation based on his failure? How is it possible for management to take an evaluation down to 0 when not one member of management has pulled the associate into the office the entire year to say that you can't do the job, that you can no longer do the job, that you never was trained for the job? You are headed out the door with no benefit. Coaching by walking around CBWA should never become CBBD, coaching by beatdown. Remember, Walmart is in reverse, just like our world is in reverse. And to blame it on the associate, and once again say the associate didn't want to learn. They couldn't learn because they had loyalty over intelligence. That's what we got now. The associates are slow and unproductive. CBBD, coaching by beat down. Beat down. And what does DJT get out there and do every day? Beat you down. He ain't trained nobody, ain't got no policies. You know, everything is for him to be what? To be free. This is all about his freedom and all about his pocketbook. You're not going to get nothing. You ain't got nothing. Did anybody get any eggs? Because my eggs are still high over here. Recently, Home Office wanted to know why there had been so many why there had been so much overtime. Simple. The mega transfer, mega force out, and mega firing by the same members of management had the same associates rotating back to snatch up the overtime offer. The same member of management failed to hire people. What? It's Christmas. People could use the extra money at this time of year. But that ain't what Walmart did. Because they made the little people that was there do the job. And then knew they taxes of that money wasn't going to help because they was going to be in another tax bracket. Even the associates doing overtime got fed up. They finally realized the money didn't matter and more people being hired did. It was not because of theft in the store. It was not all about attendance. Who has opted out once again to take responsibility? Who has opted out time and time again to take responsibility? If this ain't the story, Walmart, and if this ain't side-by-side play, I tell you what. Now, come on. Say it with me, Walmart. Home Office could send the report to me. After looking at the list of events and the people who are no longer there, Home Office would not be happy with my report. Why do you have the story 5 days before Christmas? Exactly. That's why I have it. Some members of management have to hear it. Some members of Congress have to hear it. Because you know what? You all have to. It's not 5 days before Christmas, Von. How many days is it now? How many, Von? Vondale, how many days before Christmas now?
It's about 3
You
days.
over there asleep on me? You're supposed to be my brain.
Oh, it's about 3 days before Christmas.
I know that, but I'm trying to include you in the story, dude, and you making me look crazy up here.
I'm not making you look
Over there
crazy.
listening to that crazy music that you listen to. But that's all right. I love you. Shout out to you, Vandale. Give me that big old pretty smile. There you go. Shout out to you. 3 more days before Christmas. That's why I had to give you 5 days before Christmas, because I want to see you, show you how this runs neck and neck and side by side and connected the dots to where we at now. How is your work environment? Maybe your work environment may not be abusive, intolerable, or hostile, as my work environment was. Every time an associate walked out, they proved the part of the rule that states it is not only intolerable for the associate who has left the building, but to a reasonable and objective employee in a similar circumstance, an employee who quits without giving her employee a reasonable chance to walk out, the problem is not constructively discharged. In this case, it is the same members of management. You really think management is going to work through the problem when they have caused the problem? Who have caused the problem time and time again? Who have laid down and just died and handed over their power to the Supreme Court? And then the Supreme Court blocked Congress, saying, you know what? We up here feeling on ourselves. We feel ourselves. We ain't had this much power. You handed over our power. Now we're going to give it out to DJT to blow up the world, be pinky in the brain. That's right. And you got people out here fighting left and right to save us. That's right. You got and I don't like to say the lower courts, you got some real good constitutional lawyers out here that's saying, you know what, we ain't got no respect for the Supreme Court, no. And we going for it. And stare decisis, we ain't following the leader. That's some bullshit. Because we don't respect y'all no more. And it's all about trust. And we sure in the hell don't trust y'all. Because y'all done took the Constitution and made it to be the shit that y'all want. Now, it's okay to change some stuff. Because a lot of the rules that apply don't apply to 2025. But the shit that they trying to do it all for the tech bros who break shit and don't know how to put shit back together. And over there watching Elon Musk ride around in his little motorcycles that can fly through the air like he ain't did shit to USA. And let Bill Gates tell it. Bill say, you the richest person in the world that done went and killed all these people. You know, it ain't. We can't even say shame on you. You know, he should just jump into hell right now. That's what I'm saying. Just go on and jump. So, why has the intentional behavior continued? Who did he convince to come to another store and drag the entire store morale down and chase everyone away? Who did the same co-manager and assistant manager convince they were going to correct the mistakes they made? Whose directives did they follow? Not to question one time whether it was right or wrong to fire all these associates and not have any help during the Christmas season or throughout the year. Who should take responsibility? We know who won't take responsibility. Walmart. We know that Congress did not take responsibility. We know that DJT will never take responsibility because it could never do the job in the first place. We know the administration, they ain't never been trained to do the job. They just up there for loyalty because there wouldn't be shit on a regular day. They just up there. And that's the thing. We know all of this. That's why I wanted to read this story, 5 Days of Christmas, because we had 3 days now, down for the count. And you know what? Congress still ain't got their balls up there and drew the line in the sand and said, you know what? You've done a lot of shit, but this pedophile shit and all this shit that come out and all this shit that Cash Patel and all these people in there, that's a damn shame. But like I said, it has been known, and I will say it again. You can't even fuck with me. No. But fuck with my kids? Hell to the no. That's a fight. That fight is on. Because that's where we draw the line in the sand. At least some really good parents do. Don't mess with my kids. You know, I'll take a little bit, and I'm not going to take a whole lot of bullshit, but don't mess with my kids. Or my young adults, my young men now, my young daughters. Don't mess with them. There's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. And you all couldn't even get somewhere and say, and couldn't detach yourself, cut the cord and say, oh, we all up for the Epstein we can go along. No, we can't. You normalized all other bullshit. You can't normalize it. Even Bill Clinton said, I got on Arsenio Hall and I blowed my saxophone, and I had other shit blowed on me, and y'all had to play for a cleaner dress that cost a whole lot of money. But in the meantime, you know what? I'm coming out. I'm coming out, and I'm fighting too. Thank you, Bill, for what you do, and we'll get back to you in a little bit later. But I'm gonna finish this with the constructive discharge. It is terrible for someone to harass and wrong you. Why should you have to figure out a way to get benefits? Maybe they will use their short-term disability, vacation time, or any time the associate accrued. What a setup. The bar is set very high on the rule. Constructive discharge. It has happened to an associate who is Hispanic. Now let's stop there. My girl, Christy Nome, said that what? Nobody, not what that was what, Woody, that had their citizenship had been stopped. They ain't never stopped nobody, illegally. And then the veteran came out, and what did he say?
He was stopped.
He was stopped. Christy Nome, you should have been fired on the spot. See, that's why I'm reading this story. That's why. Who walked out and has her job back? The same co-manager. Review the story, Screamers, Shouters, and Shooters. December 3rd, 2013. It happened to another associate from Kurdistan. The associate was snatched back into the system and still works for Walmart. No 30-day treatment plan for rehire. The mess up, cover up is back. He is not at all happy. Same co-manager. A young lady on maintenance, Mexican, is scared of the same co-manager. And the store manager, what does she do? Because continue to treat this young lady the same way. And lie, like Christy Nome, and say, this shit never happened. She is transferring out of the store. She hopes her transfer goes through. I thought Sam Walton said, you don't have to leave the store. I guess all bets are off. Go talk to the unloaders and the maintenance crew. You can talk to any person in this store and see what you will get. They will be very helpful. Hispanic, Kyrgyzstan. The Hispanics list is not looking good because they study getting rid of black, brown, beige, and that's why they lied and said they had a DEI program. They never had a DEI program. They just had the words in there, but no, they was constantly mistreating people of color because they knew that a lot of the people, Mexicans and other races, wouldn't fight back. But baby, when they got to me, that was a different story. I say, fire me, cut my days short, do some shit, because you better know. So, the associate who walked out is from the Philippines. Throwed a couple Africans or some Micronesians. They dogged them out too. Go ahead and make some gumbo soup. Who's being targeted and set up for failure? Not good. It wasn't good at all. It is a known factor, the store manager, same co-manager, and the same members of management team will deny the transfer. If that don't sound like DOJ, I don't know what. These same members of management will coach you, and you will be locked up for 1 year or until they find a reason to force you out or fire you. If that ain't detainment, I don't know what. The same co-managers have had a pattern of behavior of constantly using the strategy on associates to indulge in mega fear. Who is that? Who produces mega fear, mega chaos? What about people from other countries? I'm quite sure it is a struggle to learning the laws of becoming a citizen, but to compromise one's citizenship induces more fear. When the associate comes back to work, they will do anything. Did any of the following associates get reimbursed for lost time? Hell to the no. I think we know the answer to that question. Strange. Why do they have their jobs back all of a sudden, targeting different races who are afraid to speak out because they do not wish to get in trouble with the United States while they are trying to gain citizenship? And now look where we at. They trying to gain citizenship and going to court doing the right thing and still getting their citizenships stripped away. Ain't this a bitch, okay? What a cover up. Walmart in reverse mode again. Walmart reverse of who? DJT's world. Same world. Same dictatorship. Same bullshit. Same. The term gain is to fire. An associate, um, an associate in Walmart reverse world. I guess the next step is to acquire a new person, which is gain in the real world. Why has this mistake been made time and time again? And the same people seem to get away with it. Who benefits? Don't you think it's time for an independent investigation by the Attorney General? Shout out to Raskin and everybody that's up there fighting, because that's what we're doing now. Trying to get those people investigated and get them the hell out of there and have all this documented for later on. Assistant Manager Stephanie Polk walked out and we never saw her again. They really dogged her out. She walked out and just said, I can't take it no more. Why? We can refer to the rule at the top of the page for her exit. There have been many managers who left the store because of the same rule, constructive discharge. Why did so many of the associates transfer from the store to become new associates at Gladstone, Liberty, St. Joe's, 40 Highway, and other surrounding areas? Refer back to the rule at the top of the page. This will help home office with their report on the loss of associates. It is the store manager and the same members of management and the same members of assistant managers and the same damn rules that they have and the same unreality that they have. Home office, if you do not realize it by now, it is definitely a management problem. You know now. It's a management problem. It's an administration problem. It's a DJT problem. That's right. It's a Supreme Court problem. It's a Congress problem, a Senate problem. But we the people, don't lose hope, because we can solve this problem. But in order to solve this problem, we got to stick together. We got to stay focused. And we got to stand up for what we believe. The associate made it quite clear. February period far away. She didn't know if she could make it. The associate period was great and very legitimate. The associate didn't know if she could wait until the same co-manager rotates over. Good news, the associate has many witnesses who saw what happened on the days she was up front doing returns, who will be dragged into the office and interrogated. The same thing can happen or has already happened to other associates. This incident should have never been overlooked. A reasonable chance for the employees to fix the problem when the problem is the same member of management who has gotten away for years. The employee doesn't want to get the whole picture because the picture rests on not paying the employer does not want to get the whole picture because the problem rests on not paying out benefits. Another way to look at the same situation is getting rid of all these associates so the store can operate on part-time associates only. Well, I guess that solution will kill paying out insurance. We didn't have enough full-time associates hired in a timely manner to operate the store. Knowing the rule is quite significant. Once again, my head goes back to the chopping block. Intentional patterns of behavior has reared its ugly head once again for the same time this year. Here we are, Christmas 2025. Same problem. Same game, different player, different day. No, it's the same game, a different player, a different day. Coaching is right around the corner, and firing is next on the list. It is time for another assistant manager to step up and become co-manager. Why? So if the assistant manager get rid of the thorns in the side who swings the sword of accountability, he will no longer use his 75% of time CBBD, coaching by beatdown. I can add him to my list of all the other managers who have come for my head. This is the same assistant manager who said, I need to watch what I say because people listen to me. I don't need people hearing your voice or listening to me. Why should you listen to me and learn about your protected rights and the laws? Listen to him. Remember, 75% of his job is coaching by walking around, CBWA, and coaching by beatdown, CBBD. It is time for maintenance. The up it's time for maintenance. The unloaders, backroom associates, stockmen, cashiers, and all the associates to speak out and let your voice be heard. Just like our country, like Mark Elias said, if he went in that courtroom and he didn't have no hope, it'd be a bad day. But he always goes in hopeful. Thank you, Mark Elias, for that big hope. Shout out to you. He says, now, what good is fighting for $15 an hour if you don't know the rules, the laws, and the company you work for sustain your job? Accountability 2016. A lot can happen at any given time, and to this associate 5 days before Christmas was pure hell. Pure hell. The associate is still afraid. Why? Once again, refer to the rule at the top of the page. Constructive discharge. It could be me or you next. There was a lot of injuries at store 2857. Remember to learn more about this rule before you quit your job. You will lose out and your case will be harder to prove unless you have some witnesses. I want what's best for the associates. Walmart does not invest in their associates, but is willing to reap all the benefits. Walmart don't invest, but have the Congress, have the Supreme Court, have the three branches invested in us? No. Because that's why we in this fight now. Because we have to invest in ourselves and we have to stand for what we believe. No. A special note. Visit EEOC.gov and review EEO21.com on constructive discharge. And this is why the Supreme Court wanted to get rid of all those agencies, because they didn't want this fight. They didn't want us to have rights. They tore down the, what was that law, Woody?
The Humphreys decision.
They tore down Humphrey's decision, breaking down all these agencies, saying, no, we're giving this power, all the power over to the president, so we won't have to deal with these complaints. So, so this will be out, and the tech bros can come in and do any damn thing that they want. Anything. We don't have to deal with...
The Chevron decision was another one.
The Chevron decision was another one. They took all these precedents down. They didn't want these agencies. They pick and choose the agency. They chose what?
ICE.
They not ICE, but they chose to the Federal Trade Commission.
Yep.
They chose that because that would take the economy down, and then the billionaire babies wouldn't have nothing because our economy they crash, and that's why they were careful in saying, well, this agency here, it could be independent, but not these other agencies, because these other agencies got to go. And that's what they've been doing with the rules. They've been tearing it up so we wouldn't have rights. That's what they've been doing. All right? Now, also to raise your awareness, visit timslaw.com, TIMSLAW.com. Now, I don't know if this website is still up, because, like I said, I wanted what was best for the associates, and when I left out, I tried to leave as much information as I could on this blog, because I told them to go to NLD recognition and go to the search bar and put in Walmart, and you can see I was writing my ass off. I probably was crazy, and my stuff was all over the place, but I was trying to leave something for the associate so they could have those rules, just like Lawrence O'Donnell had gave me rules. I wanted to pass those rules on so that they could have something to fight with. Google at will employee and learn how the history of this policy and know your rights. Knowing your rights puts you on an advantage when you are wrongfully terminated or when you are forced out the door or not given the option to resign. Walmart has its way of dodging accountability. So does this administration and DJT. So does the Supreme Court. That's why the judges on the lower level, and they're not the lower courts, the judges that's been holding us up, that's why they're pissed off, because those constitutional lawyers saying, you know what, do your job. We holding you accountable. This is the way we doing it. Fear can make anyone become unreasonable. Listen again. Fear can make anyone become unreasonable. The associate has been severely punished. Let's change the word to punitive. Same, same. Questions the associates need to think about and mental processing. Number one, do you feel your employee has treated you poorly or severely punished you, wrong you? Do you think that? Do you feel your store manager, certain co-managers, and assistant managers have treated you poorly and severely punished you, wronged you? Do you think these managers or members of management ever convinced the associates their behavior would change and they would not make the same mistake? Wouldn't this be intentional behavior if these members of management knew the strategy of their wrongdoings induces fear in this associate? Now, you know, coming back to the Epstein thing, they knew. And that's what they induce in fear. That's what's being used now. Just you know, just like people say, it's just a shame. But I'm gonna have to continue this because my battery is getting low, and I will come back because I want to finish the 5 days of Christmas. I'm gonna let this go, and since my battery is so low, I will definitely start at number 5. Did HR know about the mistakes and behaviors of these same members of management? Did the home office know about the mistakes and the behaviors the store managers made at the previous store? Who did the store manager convince to give them another chance? And has the store manager failed again? Why hasn't any action been taken against the store manager? And why hasn't any action been taken against the same co-managers and assistant managers? So, is there any reason to trust these same members of management or managers again? Who did these? Is there any reason to trust our administration and all the things that they've done behind the Epstein files? Everything that has happened to our nation. Is there any reason to trust? So, who did the same members of management convince they would not make the same mistakes again? Is there any reason to trust HR to help solve the associate's problem when nothing ever changed? Who does Walmart work for? And do you feel damaged as an associate? Punitive damages equal punitive damages. Punitive plus damages equal punitive damages. Will Walmart be held accountable for their action? Will our system be held accountable for their action? Will DJT ever be held accountable for his action? Do you think Walmart hire and target immigrants intentionally because they are not aware of their rights in a foreign country, and they're not aware of their rights in the United States? And that's the problem, and we have to learn. But yes, that's why they target it. Do you think Walmart hire and target blacks, African American, Hispanic, Latinos, LGBT, disabled, or people with lower incomes and poor intent and the poor intentionally because they are not aware of their rights in their own country? Yes. Do you feel, and our administration do the same thing, do you feel these questions will be helpful to your mental processing? Do you understand why Walmart wants to get rid of me? You understand it now, don't you? Okay. Too much intentional behavior. Once upon a time on the grocery side, there was a lot of immigrants. What? Gone. Shut up. You better know it was not because of intentions. Review questions 17 through 18. Let's go back and visit the story message to the people, December 11, 2013. Another giant surprise. Nelson Mandela died December 5th, 2013. The story was released 6 days later. I did not make this up. True that. And look at the list. There are 11 different languages. All of these associates were on the grocery side. They have all came missing. Just like when they out on the street, we become missing. And who grabs us? ICE. And this was happening in our store constantly. It was like detention, detainment, ICE in Walmart. And this was in 2016. The same thing was happening. Dictatorship like a mug. Why I can't make this up. I sure as hell can speak I sure in the hell can't speak any of these languages. Unbelievable. Let's take a look at all the countries. We had Bosnia, Ethiopia, Spain, Arabic, uh, Southwest Nigeria, Filipino, Ghana, Haiti, Uganda, Micronesian, Philippines. Where did they come from? And where did they go? You would have thought ICE detention was in our story. Documented, it's time to start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Let's revisit the story inspiration underscore you, you which was released you which it was released August the 4th, 2014. Yes, it was the president's birthday 2 years ago. I didn't make it up. True that. I need all the media that matters to take a real close look at this story. A new assistant manager, Stephanie Pope, is placed overnight on a tax-free weekend by herself without any co-manager. And will she survive the Walmart test? She didn't survive. It comes, it comes to the Dark Knight, Ricky Ford, to the rescue. This was the first black assistant manager who was placed overnight. This was wrong to the third degree. The cover-up was to place a white female overnight. I mentioned had not been any new assistant managers placed overnight. Walmart is reading the story. New management always start on the day shift, and they put this woman on the. Who does that sound like? They was discriminating against women. Every co-manager, every woman was put overnight, which should have been started in the day, and they wanted them to fail. They set those managers up for failure. Well, okay, let's see. Remember, in Charlotte's Web, underscore redemption time, Stephanie Pope was the only assistant manager who did not receive a development needed for her evaluation. Ricky Ford was sent to the Legend store 1151. Why? Same rule on the top of the page. Notice how I use the word legend. Watch how legend come to life in Walmart reverse mode world. Here comes the twisted behavior. I'm going to stop right there because once again, I said that before, and I will continue this story. And once again, shout out to Lawrence O'Donnell. Thank you so much for the rule. And I appreciate that rule. And the rule applies to us today. And the harassment, the humiliation, it all comes down to that constructive discharge, which arises when an employee causes when an employer and causes an employee work conditions to be so difficult or unpleasant that a reasonable employee in the same position will feel compelled to resign. The employer's action must have been taken with the intentions of forcing the employee to quit. For work conditions to be so intolerable as to establish constructive discharge, they must be intolerable not only to the employee involved, but also to a reasonable and objective employee in a similar circumstance. An employee who quits without giving her employee a reasonable chance to work out the problem is not constructive discharge. And once again, I will finish this story up. And thank you, Lawrence O'Donnell. And thank you, MSNBC Now, for all the help that you have given my son. Merry Christmas to you all. And Merry Christmas to all the truth-telling networks, because I will be back. And I said I would not come up here and lie? Nope, that's not my deal. My deal is handing you all the truth. That before the independent studios came, then all I was with was the truth-telling network, which I consider MSNBC, because Fox News didn't teach the shit. And it was definitely not a station that, it was a propaganda station. It was never a news outlet. And so what we have to do is just turn away from the media, mainstream media, and legacy media, because that's not a legacy over there. And once again, I will be back, and Merry Christmas, and thank you guys for helping me get through this journey, and much love to you all. Good night. Oh, and if you like this video, and like I said, you know how I feel about those words, but I'm telling the truth, and I'm giving receipts, and I'm giving dates and times, document, and you can read this. Go to NLDrecognition.com. Go to the search bar. And if you want to see how many stories I wrote on Walmart, to let you know I wasn't taking none of their bullshit, just to let you know, visit NLDrecognition.com. Go into the search bar, put Walmart in there, and you'll see those stories pop up. And once again, thank you all, and good night.